Computer. Yes, welcome.
Got
It
it.
is really good to see you, Mike. I'm Jesse. We are a couple Arizona fans who found each other to get together and talk Arizona basketball this season.
Yeah, we like this program a little too much, so here's an outlet.
So yeah, if you happen to be stumbling across the link to this recording, we're going to jump in to kind of our reflections and interpretations on what's exciting to me, Mike, as we've spoken about, is like I really enjoy the intersection of, the unquantifiable and
Yeah,
some of the quantifiable, and how to make sense of that, and how to follow a team and follow a developmental process. This is like seems like a really good program and time to be jumping into this.
yeah, and I view things a lot through that quantifiable lens, and so it's fun to talk with you about the unquantifiable, and you've got a background in that. And so it feels like we've had some good conversations, and hopefully we have another one here.
So let's jump into the game last night.
Yeah,
You sounded pretty excited. I love to hear just your overall sense of gut
man.
gut
I
gut
mean,
response. Let's start from the gut and then
yeah,
we'll go to the numbers.
gut response is fun because it was a good gut response. I mean, 120 something points. It's nuts. Felt like an NBA game with the amount of scoring that Arizona was able to accomplish. Held the other team to what half of that, and only played the starters like 20 minutes. I mean, if you, it's shocking to look back and see that, like, Tommy said it wasn't a minute cap, but 20 minutes, 15 minutes for some of these guys, and everybody went off. Obviously, all respect to Morgan State, but they're maybe the worst D1 team this season. So, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
But
they're going to be in the
um,
300s, I think. Yeah, Ken Palm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're 350-ish right now.
Mhm,
So they're
mhm.
bottom percentile. We're top percentile. We should win, but you don't often see, even with that disparity, teams winning like that. And why we won, the interconnectedness, it felt like for the most part, on offense and defense was great. It was really, really fun. Um, had same. I mean, what jumped off the page to you?
I mean, I love what you're saying about the interconnectedness, because what I was looking for compared to last year, and
Mm,
not to use last year as a whipping boy, but more as a
right.
contrast to find some sense of encouragement. We played them at home last year, and I think we were up 8 at the half. And what I'm looking for is like what I'm always looking for through like a motivation lens is
Yeah.
how much of the spirit of play comes from the players, and rather
Hmm.
than from the situation or the environment. Like
Sure.
anybody
Sure.
can get excited for Duke on the road, or
Right.
UCLA at
How
home.
internally motivated are
How
these
internally
guys? Right.
motivated, and
Yeah.
I'm just interpreting, but what I saw out there 1 through 12 was just a real sense of pride and energy and joy in playing. And so what I came away with, as contrasted maybe more relevantly to the New Mexico Highlands exhibition, where I started to be
Sure.
like, wow, will we actually play with like an enforcing our will on the defensive end, and
Yeah.
like actually play with intention offensively? And wow, I don't know if I've ever seen an Arizona team execute for 40 minutes essentially.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
were only a couple little moments where things really went sideways, but it was like I don't even care who you're playing. That's hard to do without defense.
Absolutely. Yeah. It could have been an open gym, and that
Yeah.
still looked, like that. What came to my mind this morning was like they felt like they were shot out of a rocket. They felt like they were starving, like they were starving to do what they did, and just obsessed with doing what they did, and that's so much. That's so fun to see, especially ahead of a really, 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 really tough game, really big game this Friday, for them to come out, not overlook this opponent in any fashion. Just desperate. It felt like to win every possession, to win every
Mm.
moment, and I loved it. It's great.
Total competitive engagement. And
Yeah.
Tommy mentioned those three pillars,
Mm-hmm.
which let's see if I forget right now, but effort, intelligence, and
Right.
unselfishness.
Mm.
And so we're going to jump into a couple of clips now, because you and I are really
Yeah.
tracking like little moments where we start to see the process of development happen for individuals. Can we start with Love? I've got 6 clips, including yours. Is that cool?
Let's go.
All
You got to
right.
start with love, right?
Yeah. Add all the love puns. So
Yeah.
apologies to the viewers. I have no idea how this is going to show up on the recording, but we're going to just DIY this
So
share
exciting.
screen. We're just DIYing this thing. And I've got this queued up. So of course, then I didn't run it back when I showed you, huh? So here we're going to go through a series of Caleb Love. And Mike, you want to walk us through what you see here?
Yeah. So, Caleb got a lot of crap and a lot of it from me. But, publicly got a lot of crap from the media and analysts on bad decision making with the jumper. A lot of what I saw last year from him over the couple of years was maybe bad decision making off the drive and then going into the rim, going into the paint without considering his other options and just kind of throwing up shots. He had a really poor rim finishing percentage over the last couple of years. And so I wanted to see more, smarter decision making, higher rim percentage finishing. And so what he does here is he drives in, he's walled off, and he does the smart thing. He stops, pivots, finds the open man. And I just thought, early in the game, first game of the year, it's exactly what I wanted to see.
Nice. Yep. I love that we're talking about decision making. So here's the next one. And let me see if I remember what's happening. So I think this is another example where he has a decision where he could. Oh, that was just a nice. I love that he just he's really playing with pace, but also discretion here. So instead of turning the corner and forcing up a long 2-point contested shot, he takes that extra step and he gets the angle for the post entry. It's nice. Subtle. It's subtle, but it's showing the consciousness of the system, which I thought was really just a small but nice thing.
FYI, I don't see anything on my end. It's frozen on my end. It looks like, but maybe it's showing in the
The
recording.
video's not playing.
Yeah.
Oh, my screen sharing is paused. Why would that be? This is a professional tech setup we got.
Yeah. Let's see. We do this every day.
So. We do. You are screen sharing. Oh, you know what? It paused when I went to the big YouTube display, I think. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to do it from the little window. Did you see any of yours?
I didn't see it. No. I was just going off faith.
So back to the original clip where Caleb drives on the wing, stops, kicks it out to Pella. Sorry about that, folks. Here it is. Here's Mike's first point.
Yeah. Loved this. Could have taken it up there. Kicks it out to open Pella. Pella drills the 3, which obviously I love.
And then here, instead of forcing something, he takes the post entry angle to Ballo. Simple decision making, but really powerful.
And that's what Tommy's going to want, right? Because we have Ballo's so great, and we love running offense to the post that you just get it in there to that guy. He's going to score.
And then we've got this sequence, which is outstanding patience. So he instead of driving, let's do that again. It's so quick.
That was great.
There's key shot. Instead of driving or forcing something at the rim or even pulling up, he takes 2 dribbles and he's got Ballo. So 1 dribble, boom. And it's simple, but for a guy who has the reputation of making decisions that hurt winning, he's making all these winning plays. And when we talk about brain processing and executive functioning, this is a guy who's been with the program for 5 months. And these are important little signs that this stuff is becoming second nature.
And a lot of
go ahead.
Just a lot of my caution. I had a lot of caution, among fans when I was talking about, hey, bringing Caleb Love on, because you see 3 years of decision making, and you think it's really difficult to change those kinds of habits, especially at in game speed. That, right? To see it this early, that he's already made that shift, it's just so impressive.
Totally. And then this might have been the quintessential. I want to hear your breakdown of this sequence. It's a little longer sequence. It's one where he has an opportunity to force a shot and then the ball comes back to him. See if you remember this. Nope, that was a bad example. Oh, yeah. No, he does force a shot and the ball's going to come back here.
Oh, I love this. I love this. And he goes inside.
So here he could take that shot.
Yep.
When he gets
Goes
inside, yeah,
inside.
yeah, yeah. It was just nice.
Yeah.
We didn't have that last year. We would have settled for the fadeaway contested jumper.
And I think Mielbach even noted on the broadcast that how impressed he was with that decision. That hey, you hoisted up a maybe I don't want to call it ill advised because he can hit those jumpers. I don't want him to stop
Yeah, no,
using
no,
that
that
tool.
wasn't a bad shot.
Um,
Yeah,
but just getting an easy shot afterwards, just getting to the rim. It's great.
and attacking, yeah, yeah. And I think this one might be the one I was thinking of. Let's run it through and see. This is maybe the quintessential possession. Yeah, look at that, passed up two shots to the, and then he gets that like.
Uh,
So
how
he
cool
was,
is that?
so he
How
was.
cool.
Let's watch that again. So he was 2 for 6 from three, but two of them were blocked. One of
Mm,
them was a end of the shot clock heave, if you
got
remember.
it.
So he was
Yeah.
essentially 2 for 3 on what I would call feet set good looks, and this is one of them. And this is an example. Again, he passes up two sort of like shots that maybe last year's Caleb would have
Yeah.
taken. He kicks it to the corner and he gets it back. So let's watch that again. Here's one shot. Here's two shots.
Could have taken it.
Kicks.
Could have taken it.
Stays engaged. Now feet set. Beautiful. That is freaking
Beautiful.
beautiful.
And I don't even care if he missed that shot. You know what I mean?
It's a great
That's
shot.
just really, yeah, just smart decision making.
Right. And so I think like as people, as we start to get wary of is he going to buy in? What happens
Right.
when things go sideways? These moments, whether it's Morgan State or anybody, hopefully help him gain trust that like if I give the ball up, I'm going to get it back. If that's a thing that he worries about. I don't know.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Then there's one more I found when I was looking at over your notes that this is just a beautiful sequence. I think this is another passing sequence. Let me see. So this is second half. Here's Love dishing to the corner, getting it back, patience, driving, and then getting
Mm-hmm.
fouled.
Love it.
Getting fouled. So
You,
I'm,
you
yeah,
using the big man, that seal that and Previous needs to do a little bit better job there. He'll get there, but love it.
right on. So super excited. Any of your just kind of overall, what do you need to see from Caleb on Friday to be further encouraged?
Yeah, more of that is obviously the big hope. I I am like as the season progresses, the big thing that I'm circling is field goal percentage at the rim for
Mm.
Caleb. I think that is if you're thinking about what stats will kind of
Yep.
back up the eye test, that's that. Are you making good decisions when you're driving the ball? Because if you're not, then that's probably a low field goal, 50% or below, which is what he traditionally had been. And if you are making good decisions, you probably are not taking those difficult shots. You're taking easier shots at the rim. And he's so athletic and he's so big. He deserves to have, a field goal finishing at the rim of, 60 plus, right?
Totally. And I think, based on thanks for the hoop math reference.
Yeah.
He's just over 40% last year in 2-point jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote it down. I think he took 27% of his shot attempts at the rim. Do you think it's like his ratios are okay? It just needs to be his efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind the ratios. I
Yeah.
like him taking 2-point jumpers. I think we need 2-point jumpers.
Yep.
Like last year, that just didn't exist, and so you
Yep.
need, especially in the tournament, that those the you love rim finishes and 3-point shots as a stats person, but the reality of basketball is when it grinds down, like you need to be able to get 17 feet from the rim and take an open shot.
Yeah.
So I like him taking those shots. I just really want to see that rim finishing elevate up. I think that's indicative of good decision making.
So we'll be watching that throughout the season just to see if those, not necessarily if the proportions, because I think last year he took about 50% of his shots were threes. We're okay with that as long as they're, the threes that we're demonstrating here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing about in using hoop math again, love hoop math. Shout out hoop math. Percentage of assisted threes. I think he was down in the 50 percentile, like 50% of his threes were
53.
assisted.
Yeah, 53, I think.
53.
Yeah.
I don't love that. I think Kylan had a very similar number last year as well. Congratulations to those guys for being able to dribble into a 3-point jumper, it's not going to be as efficient of a shot as a catch and shoot. And I think
Yes.
in this system, you're going to get a plenty of catch and shoot opportunities, which we just saw him nail a couple, right? So I know Kylan, he wants to be an NBA player and probably needs to show self creation to get there. Just all the respect in the world to it. Both those guys, I'd prefer to see them in this 65-75% range. That's Mathurin, that's Krisa and Ramey, who, for all we can complain about them, they were fantastic 3-point shooters, obviously.
I think this is the there's one of these here where Pella gets it on the break. Here's this one. So here's a on the break spot up shot. So that's an assisted. I think that's where we want, if he and Boswell can take a high percentage of their threes from those scenarios, then they're going to be great shooters. Yeah. and Larson already does that. So Larson should be a 40% shooter because he's not forcing step backs and
100%. Yeah. He took like 90% or something assisted last year. Right.
He's just okay. So just from a time standpoint, we'll if you want to join us next time, we'll have more space. But we're going to run through a few more examples, and then we'll hopefully come back next week after Duke and dive in a little deeper. I want to go with some of your clips you had. Do you want to talk about the great Filip Borovic in here and his defensive engagement?
Look, I don't think that this is something that a lot of people are going to be like circling, but I absolutely adored this this sequence from Philly. I'm a big Philly fan. I think he's got a ton of skill for his size, and just look at the engagement. Full court, heads down, and then here, watch the feet. Look at him. He's just bouncing. He's with it. He's on a swivel. He's engaged, and then stays physical. Tags his guy. Tags again to make a little space, make it uncomfortable down there, and then the shot goes up, and he's already looking about for the box out. I think that's what keeps Philly on the court. These guys are fighting for minutes for that last spot of the rotation. You think KJ seems to clearly have grabbed a spot with his productivity on the defensive end. But Paulie, Henry, Philly, which of these guys are going to emerge as a reliable player that's going to get in the rotation? Philly's showing, I think, what's going to get him there.
I think you're right, because when I watch, Morauskas, he looks like he's still learning the defense. He looked like Filip did last year defensively. Obviously, they both could win a lot of games of horse, but they're both ready to shoot. But Morauskas looks like he's still catching up to the pace defensively, and that's fine. That's to be expected. But it's cool to see in terms of a trajectory that Borovic seems to have caught up to the game a little bit. I don't think he's ever going to be like a super athlete. He's not Scottie Pippen, but he's like, he can be a solid college player who can sort of be like, I don't know, maybe a poor man's Pella, maybe even a little bit more skilled of a scorer off the dribble than Pella. And I don't know if he'll be as good in the other dimensions of the game, but he can be, if he can be a net 80% of a Pella, you don't mind that guy as a 7th or 8th man with experience in a year,
Yeah, it's just a super valuable guy to have in the rotation, right? Totally. That is a dangerous scorer, who is also a pretty competent defender. I want that at his size, especially. Please, thank you.
Good segue into the guy you and I both love, which is Larson. Tell us what you're seeing here.
My big hope for Larson was just aggressiveness this year. And it was my big hope last year. I thought, gosh, I probably said 1,000 times, if Larson takes 11 attempts, 12 attempts a game, I'm like, he's going in the first round. And I know that sounds stupid and crazy to a lot of people, but I deeply believe that if this guy is aggressive in seeking his shot and he's getting 15 points a game with his tools, that he's a quality, he's an NBA player. So here you see him go coast to coast, and I think last year maybe that is him pulling it out or kicking it out right there, and he's just like, no, I'm bigger, stronger, I'm just going to go for the rim. And he did that a lot last night, where he just went to the rim, drew fouls, seeking his shot. Needs that. I love it.
And just for sake of time, we're going to have time for one more. I want to do this little moment with Krivas, because this made me go, wow. He has a lot to work on. Obviously, he got a dose of what American basketball is like in terms of contesting the rim, and that's fine. But look at what he does here. I've never seen. I don't even know if Koloko did this 2 years ago. Watch not only the decision, but the ability to take the dribble into the lane and then dump the post entry.
It was so cool. I know exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
I could not believe that he covers ground so quickly, right?
I think he may have traveled, but that's all right. It's still like I still want him trying. Look at this. I still want him trying it. Look, one, two. Yeah, I think he's all
Oh, a
right.
little shuffle at the start, but we're letting it play.
He's 7-2.
Yeah, come on, give the guy a break. That is incredible skill, right? It's shocking. Yeah,
What's one thing that you think most needs to carry over on Friday to, I'm not saying win or lose. I think there's a lot to gain from the Duke game. So you can be predictive
absolutely.
if you want, but like, what do you want them
Mm.
to come away with saying, like, independent of the outcome, I see this about the team?
It's really qualitative. It's just like that the trust and the energy that they have. I think I sent you a clip where Kishad goes to the ground, early in the game. And Love was the first guy to get him. Love was almost over on the other side of the court.
Let's do
He
it. Yeah,
sprinted over to pick him up. And so just that kind of energy for each other.
let's do it.
Like you said, irrespective of the outcome, I just want to see these guys, fighting for each other like this. Yeah, so Kishad gets the ISO down the block, generates the foul. And
Mm,
look,
yeah, yeah.
you can, people laugh about culture, but I love it.
No, yeah, it's everything. It's everything. I
Yeah,
think I think you can win a one-off. I think teams have won one-off with really toxic cultures if you have enough talent,
sure.
but it's not sustainable. Culture
Right.
sustains for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for that fight response.
Yeah.
I want to see competitive engagement. I expect things to be a little sloppier and challenging, of course.
Right.
This is like maybe, one of the most talented rosters that we're going up against in recent
I,
memory. Like
I
they're
think yeah.
and I was impressed with what Shire did last year. In November, I watched them a few minutes against Oregon State, and they were terrible. And I
Mm,
was thinking for a moment, like, I guess we don't have to worry about Duke anymore. And he brought them to a really, really nice developmental place, which is not, nobody's going to feel sorry for their dearth of talent, but
right.
it is something to pull together a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds who've never
For
played
sure.
together before. And he did that. So I expect them to be very good, very prepared. But I also expect us to fight. I think the one thing about Tommy so far is like when it hasn't worked in games, the team has sort of collapsed. And I think out of 11 losses, I think maybe 7 or 8 or 9 even are double digits.
Mm,
And I want to see the fight. I want to see, like, if we lose by 7 or 8, at least it's a fighting position. If we win, we'll have to have fought. But
yeah.
um thank you for being here. It's a little quick and abrupt, but let's get on next week after that game. It should be super
That was
exciting.
fun.
Yeah, man.
That was super fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording here